guys, for me, one of my favorite Indonesian comedian is Reggy Hasibuan, one of the English-speaking stand-up comedians
Because you can relate better.
Indonesia. Right. Now, in fact, he has also performed in Malaysia and also Cambodia.
Now, to know more about him, we are now connected with the one and only, the man himself, Reggy Hasibuan. Hi, Reggy.
Hello.
Hi guys, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Wow,
Yes.
energy
Lovely, lovely. I mean, we are very much wanting to be there where you are in Bali.
Oh, you guys want to get some healing here too?
Of course, yeah. Healing. That's the word.
But Reggy,
That's the word.
first thing first, could you please tell us how you were first involved in stand-up comedy?
I started actually in 2009. So I was the first actually to start comedy, and I was the first to upload my comedy video into YouTube. Right? But there was like no one else but me, and I got so much hate comments in YouTube, so I stopped for 2 years. Traumatized. Because social media was mean now, it was worse back then.
Oh God, that's why you need a lot of healing.
I was back in 2011 when it became viral. So I joined the wave, and I met all those guys afterwards. So yeah, that was the beginning of a very long journey until now.
But I mean, what you're doing is quite different. You're doing it in English. How do you formulate your stand-up comedy in English? Is it originally Indonesian thing, and then you translate it into English, or did you find words in English that are funny, or how?
Probably some context in English comedy.
Yeah, because nobody, some people do not get related
Yeah.
to whatever you're
That's
saying
right.
sometimes here in Indonesia.
Oh, believe me, I can so relate to that. But no, I mean, it's because of my background. I mean, I used to be an English debater for like 11 years, and I used to teach English too. Plus, back then, there was like no Indonesian comedian reference. So all that our comedian reference were like American or British. So basically, you know, they speak in English. So, why translate? Just do it directly. Which was a very bad decision because I was trying comedy back in my hometown in Malang where anyone barely speak in English. So yeah, not exactly the wisest decision in my life, but you know what? I'm glad I'm still doing it.
Yeah, growing from that trauma.
Yeah.
There you go. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, as you know, a pioneer, so we can say, right? Obviously, you have your own favorite stand-up comedian or comedian itself. Who is your favorite comedian?
I think my top 4.
Right.
Is it yourself?
Will be number 1, Robin Williams.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Robin
He's the one that
Williams.
influenced me the most.
Yeah.
Second will be Josh Carlin. Third will be Eddie Murphy. And fourth will be Pablo Francisco. Those are my big 4.
I actually know 2 of them. Of course, Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
But I don't know the other 4. But
Hey.
yeah, but as a pioneer, like what Rahma just said,
Yeah.
as a pioneer of an English-speaking stand-up comedy in Indonesia, how has it been for you?
Well, first of all, it feels like a mouthful. It's a long title, right?
Yeah.
I'm the first English-speaking Indonesian comedian. Wow. Okay, I have to say it in one breath. But I have to tell you, it's not an easy journey,
Yes.
right? Because in my early career, anyone barely understood me, including my own parents. They were like, "What
Including
are
your
you doing,
parents.
boy?" Right? Yeah. Just be a doctor, no comedian. So yeah, a bit of a rebel myself. And apparently, it's like it took years of struggle until it can finally begin to be understood better, even now. But it gets easier that I moved to Bali, and now my audience are actually expats and tourists. Now they can understand. Yeah, mixed audience. So yeah, had I known this, I would have moved to Bali years ago. No, I was stubborn. So yeah.
But who are your best audience? Is it, I mean, from age group wise? Is it the youngsters? Is it the older ones? Which one? Or all of them like your jokes?
Well, because most of my jokes are not PG-13.
Oh.
So basically
PG-13.
adults. And you know what? I mean, in Bali, most of my audience are like drunk bules. And
Drunk bules.
They're drunk, so they'll laugh at anything.
Oh, man. That makes your job easier somehow.
Exactly, yeah. Once they start drinking, my job gets easier.
Done.
There you go.
Done and dusted.
Yep. So again, what has been the greatest challenge for yourself as a stand-up comedian? If you want to elaborate with us.
Yes, the biggest challenge is that I was not born and raised in Jakarta.
Right.
I'm from a small town of Malang, right? And you know, being an English speaking comedian in Malang is difficult because the English capacity of my hometown people is like very much lacking. So I had to travel, meaning there was like more costs, right? Basically, I invested a lot in comedy. Yeah, I tried Malang, not so much of a big success. I tried Jakarta, it was hard too, but now I'm in Bali. After 10 years, I finally discovered Bali, which is good because, you know, as a comedian, we have to be able to survive difficult audience, right? And we got the experience and the grit, and then we move to the audience that we like, and we have all the preparations. We're ready.
Wow. So Malang is indebted to you a lot because it taught you a lot of grit. Definitely, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a lot of traumas back then. Now I'm grown impervious to trauma. Hope.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of making peace with your past and traumas. Yeah. But Reggy, probably if I look up to all those my favorite stand-up comedians, they have their own niche. Like Ali Wong with the things about women, feminists, misogynists, and stuff like that. Ronnie Chiang, you know, he is exploiting so much about being Asian in, you know, namely mostly white-dominated countries. And, you know, lots of things. Joy Coy being Filipino. What is your niche?
Drunk bules?
That's my niche audience. But usually everywhere I go, whether it is national and international, I bring forward the character and the persona of being an Indonesian. Right? Because that's exotic, because nobody out there has ever heard or listened to an Indonesian comedian, right? Let alone knowing our country. So when I bring that issue, it becomes something refreshing to them, at least for the point of view of a fresh idea that counts. So all that I have to do next is to make it funny.
So, can you give a little bit of examples? I mean, this is a good way to introduce our country, Indonesia, and an outside world, right?
Absolutely.
Can you give an example of what would you say to,
What is the topic? What is the topic that you would bring forward?
That you choose, yeah.
Okay, for example, like this. When I travel abroad, I was skeptical. I thought Indonesia is not famous. Nobody knows about this country. I was wrong. Indonesia is very popular. We are in every news. Never good news. Because check this out. All right, you guys still remember 9/11, the Twin Tower?
Yep.
In the Twin Tower, there were 2 Indonesian workers. But that morning, when the tower crumbled, they were safe. They were unharmed. Because that morning, they were late.
I felt so wrong on laughing to this.
By the way, true story. I did not make that up.
It's a true story.
Because they're late.
Okay. Now, Reggy, obviously, when you tell, you know, stories to your audience, obviously, you need to gather the comedic materials. Now, where do you get this inspiration or ideas?
Well, one of the formula in stand-up comedy is that tragedy plus time equals to comedy.
Right.
So we make comedy based on the problems that we see and the problems that we experience. And you know what? It's quite fortunate that being an Indonesian living in this country, I will never run out of problems. Yeah, that's like every single day I can see problems. So, having lived in this country, it's a source of material. So just open the news. It's like, haha, jokes right here. So yeah, whenever there is problems, there will be jokes.
Yeah.
All right. The moment that I live my life conveniently, the moment I stop being funny.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will not come anytime soon.
Apparently there's a science behind it.
Yeah,
Behind
definitely.
being a stand-up comedian.
Absolutely.
But the problem is, some audiences are just hard to please, Hard to please and hard to entertain. So how do you deal with those types of audiences?
I'm sure you guys know Karens. And
Yes.
social justice warriors. Those guys are so hard to please because, they're very sensitive, right? Easily offended. Look, it is our job as a comedian to increase your level of morality. All right? If you're stuck at one level of morality, then you're basically stuck. All right? Open up your mind, open up your horizon, learn how to take a joke. Right?
Yes.
Because life is actually funnier that way. Why being so serious? Okay, because basically at the end of the day, it's still humor. It's still jokes.
Right.
If you are angry at something funny, something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Well, in my own principle, if you can't laugh at yourself, how can you laugh at somebody else? Can I get an amen,
There
Reggie?
you go. There you go. All right.
Now,
Learn
the stories
to
will
take a
continue
joke,
after the
whatever
break
say.
with Reggy Hasibuan. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.